Hello, everyone. My name is Heng Sure. Today is Monday, the 24th of March here in Australia. It's Sunday night, 23rd of March, back in California. Hope all of you are well. Thank you for joining today. We're going to be investigating the Flower Garland Sutra's Ten Transferences chapter. 大家好，我叫恒实大家阿弥陀佛。今天在这里，在黄金海岸，澳大利亚的黄金海岸是3月24，星期一在加州万佛圣城是23，星期天晚上欢迎各位来参加我们的华严经佛学讲座十回向品的讲经我们马上开始。All right. Thank you for joining again. Whoops, there we go. I'm going to ring the bell 3 times, and then Alan is going to stand in for everybody and request Dharma. So let's get started. 我先敲引请上下，然后 Alan 就要替大家来请法。Okay, make sure my original sound is on. Okay. Let's first, hold on here, I'm going to first bow 3 times. Stop that. Come back here. There we go. All right, here we go. Let's get started. 一问讯，再问讯，三问讯。Okay, Alan, if you would like to request Dharma, please go ahead and do it now.
恭请大德僧听，为此法会，及一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，殊证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize numbers.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samya samputoshi.
Namo sakanto suchedoye arahati samya samputoshi.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand Buddha's actual meaning. 好的 Alan, gratitude. Thank you for that. Be happy to do so. Let me make one more click. click. There we go. We're going to request the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the Flower Garland Assembly to draw near, and the Dharma Protectors, 天龙八部护法神圣，华严海会佛菩萨。So invite people to join me if you care to. Namo Dafa Guanghu Wanjing One more time. We would like to gratefully, respectfully acknowledge the Pomo people who practice spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here on their ancestral lands. That's the Ukiah Valley for tens of thousands of years. Of course, they didn't call it Ukiah, they called it Yokeo. Today, we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 我们恭敬地承认 Pomo 人是我们寺院所在地，就是说 Ukiah Valley 就深谷那个地方，传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。Bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000劫内，佛法扬万亿国中，共寻其法界和平，利益报贪恼后。Okay, there we are. That's our protocols. And I've got a Dharma Protector here on the screen. Let's dive right in. Ten Transferences Chapter 十迴向品 真如 譬如真如 Folks want to know what is 真如. I've heard Shifu Master Chenhua use the word 真如 as a synonym for Bodhi, for Nirvana, for Xing, for 法性. In other words, most of the power words to indicate the holy, the substance and nature, some of the words we use, the substance and nature of all of us and all things. Zhenru is that. Recently, listening to a clip, listening at lunch to a recording of Master Hua, he said, when you realize the Zhenru Foxing, the true suchness, Buddha nature, true thusness, Buddha nature, that's what you cultivate for. So that's what it is. It's the sacred, the holy. If you use English power words for that thing, that's what it is. So our Bodhisattva here, Jinggang Shuang Pusa, is explaining to us what Bodhisattva's transference is like, and he's using as an analogy that sacred thing, the Buddha nature. And he does it 100 times. We have 41 to go. That's where we are. We've come through 59 of them. So 我们在讲第八回向金刚床菩萨介绍在第八回向菩萨第八回向的菩萨在回向功德的时候是怎么一回事，他就用真如当个比喻。真如呢，这个东西，这个用语，这个名相有不同的字可以用，可以代替不同的字。前几天在吃饭的时候，我们就听圣法上人的录音带。师父就说修行修道的人，他说我们什么时候证得真如佛性，那个时候就自在，那个时候就快乐，那个时候就没有烦恼。这样子，真如佛性是应该说跟涅槃、跟菩提、跟正报都差不多一样的，可以换形容词这样子。所以第八回向，我们想知道什么？这里有100个比喻，就说菩萨回向功德是怎么一回事。可是他拿来当我们应该认识的东西来比喻就可以从近的东西明白远的东西，就是真如那么如果真如不懂，那更不懂菩萨回向功德是怎么一回事。好的，就我们已经讲到59个了，我们还剩下41个。Okay, are we ready? That gets us right where we belong. Here we go. Starting right here. 譬如真如体性无生，善根回向亦复如是，方便是生而无所生。Just as the essence of true suchness is intrinsically non-arising, so too are bodhisattvas' dedication of good roots, in that they manifest as skillful means, but in reality never arise. How about that? You'll notice I was using slightly different English. Now, I have, this is Bhikshu Heng Sure, Dharma Mitra, it's publication, translation and publication of the Avatamsaka. I mentioned a couple weeks ago how highly recommend that folks get a copy for yourself. It's complete in 3 volumes, the whole Avatamsaka. Bhikshu Heng Sure is our Dharma brother. He's our Dharma senior, one of the first 5 monks and nuns to leave home with Shifu. And he has translated, among others, Avatamsaka entirely. Kalavinka Press. Also available through Buddhist Text Translation Society, our own ETTS. Heng Sure welcomed us to distribute his text. Okay. 这个是什么呢？就是我们最早5位美国人出了家，就3个男众2个女众呢，其中一位恒寿法师，授道的授，教授的授。恒寿呢，他是大翻译人，他把整个华严经翻译成翻译圆满，3册一套，这是第一，对 Volume 1， 那个是 Volume 1。Flower Adornment Sutra Volume 1有3个，统统3个，是谁？是 Bhikkhu Dharma Mitra， 也是 Kalavinka 嘉陵品切恒寿法师。如果各位要拿一套，还有其他的呢，这是华严经，他还翻译很多，就是 Kalavinka Press Bhikkhu Dharma Mitra， 也可以到我们的 BuddhistTexts.org Dharma 就是我们国际译经学院的国际译经院的这个翻译 BTTS Buddhist Text Translations 也可以拿到。那么我就把我应该说恒寿法师的贡献是相当大能把这个他对师父呢很虔诚恭敬，他就把师父所讲的华严经翻译这个经文不包括这个师父的注解，那是我们的责任他呢就把整个华严经翻译好了，所以我就为让懂英文的人也可以从恒寿法师的观点可以得到不同的味道因为选择的字有一点差别，所以有意思So the value of keeping track of our 10 transferences, looking through on the screen, I have our current translation, but Bhikshu Heng Shure's perspective gives us a slight different flavor, and just moving 1 degree to the left or 1 degree to the right really helps in sharpening focus on what it's all about. Okay? Folks who don't understand the English, probably this will be of lesser interest to you, but maybe so. Maybe finally hearing it in English, it makes sense after hearing it in Chinese for so long. Okay. So what does he say? He says, just as the essential nature of true suchness, he says suchness, not thusness, is unproduced. He doesn't say intrinsically non-arising. It's unproduced. So too, with his dedications of roots of goodness, right? For bodhisattvas with their dedication of good roots. For they manifest the appearance of production as a skillful means, even as they are unproduced. That's well said, okay? So, bodhisattvas, in order to get the job done, in order to meet the needs of the moment, they show some expedient that helps. It doesn't really exist. That's the magic of the bodhisattva. But we perceive it, we follow it, we're moved by it towards the good. Okay? 这样子看恒寿法师他讲的，他翻译的就比较让我们明白，就说就像真如是怎么一回事，它不生不灭，菩萨会上功德一样的，就说他们用方便法，需要让我们接受，然后改变自己的行为，往好了做，或者不做不应该做的事情，那就方便了。然后呢，方便法就像幻化一样，不是真实的就会相功德 就是这样子。有帮助吗？有，一定的。Okay, let me check my messages here. Okay, there we are. Thank you, Alan. 恒寿，对了，各位看到 chat box， 我们 chat box 里边，Alan, please put in Buddhist texts to the page where people can get it from DRBA as well, from BDTS, if you don't mind. 直接从 Kalavinka 可以拿到，也可以到我们的 Buddhist Text Translation Society BuddhistText.org 也可以收到。OK， 真如就这样子，回向就这样子。OK, here we go. 譬如真如无所不在，善根回向亦复如是。十方三世诸佛土众，诸佛度众，普贤神通而无不在。Just as true suchness is omnipresent, so too are bodhisattvas' dedication of good roots, in that as they manifest their spiritual powers in Buddha lands throughout the 10 directions and 3 periods of time, likewise are omnipresent. Yeah, let's see. For example, just as true suchness has no place it does not reside, so too it is with bodhisattvas' dedication of roots of goodness, for they manifest spiritual superknowledges throughout the Buddha lands of the 10 directions and 3 periods of time, and thus have no place they do not reside. Okay, that is helpful. Hearing Heng Shure's explanation, it makes it clearer. So I want to say there are definitely different kinds of Buddhists drawn to Buddhism, just as it is so for any religion. People come to a body of faith or a body of knowledge like the Dharma, and to a community, to the Dharma and the Sangha, for a variety of reasons, a whole spectrum of reasons. And for example, I likely would not have turned to Buddhist sutras if I hadn't met Master Shenhua's insistence that we who came to him in the 60s and 70s got to hear sutras being explained every night. Shifu insisted that we spend 90 minutes of every day, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday, listening to the Buddha's voice. I would not have picked that as my first choice of ways to be a Buddhist. But having done that, I find that that is the focus of my life as a monk, my work and my mission. It took a Shanzhishi to bring that out of my nature, that potential, okay? Other people come for Pure Land and they just want to be devotional. They don't care what the Buddha said. How do you translate it in English? It's unimportant to them. What they want to do is enter the Buddha's vows, Amitabha's vows, and get to the Pure Land. Other people, it is Chan meditation. That just, they want guidance into that noumenal space of stillness where they come face to face with the whirling dervish of the mind, right? That's for them. Others, so you get the idea. Other people come for the power of mantras, etc. So, for those of us who number one, love language, number two, love truth and its expression, and want to see the big picture both in theory and in practice, how we translate these words is really important. The difference of a phrase can open the door and say, oh, I never heard it that way, right? So for those of you who, and of course, if you don't speak English, then it's got a limited value to you because the Chinese has been in this form for thousands of years. So, but we're talking to, this is a function of translation. So, having two languages here. So, just for those folks. 就说来学佛的人所求的所修的方式大不同。就在佛教界有南传，有北传，有藏传。这个北传、汉传佛教里边都有五宗，所以有的人呢喜欢打坐参禅，有的人一定要念佛，要赶快往生西方，不是赶快，就到时候要往生西方极乐世界，亲见，就自己见到阿弥陀佛啊。有的人非常喜欢这个陀罗尼真言咒文，所以就念咒。有的人喜欢清净那个律宗。如果没有瑜伽神话上人在60、70时代，我相信我不会每天用90分钟研究佛经。到了周末，星期六、星期天2次。可是呢，瑜伽上人他重视让西方或者就是这一代的年轻人听佛的声音，结果呢，那就变成我自己本身的，这是应该说最深入的一门到了佛教界所以我们现在呢，跟随上人就是翻译经典这种宗旨，来花了很多时间在文字方面。当然，懂中文的人不懂英文的人，可能对那个不感兴趣了，对不起。不过我们不应该说对不起，就说这次是在圣城，因为上人一切都双语，就不但双语，现在所翻译的就有越南佛就是义工来帮我们翻译越南话，将来也说不定会不会有西班牙文，希望如此希望现在在巴黎，法国巴黎都要建立道场，所以这也是上人另外一个职业就是把正法带到世界各国。可是呢，这是佛经呢，这个从唐朝中文就定了，不是不能就说再回去从梵文又翻译华严经。可是英文呢有大的这种弹性，没有定了，所以我就今天又介绍这个恒受法师翻译的英文，然后懂英文的人听到稍微不同，就那我才懂。Okay, so that's what we're doing here. Okay, moving on here. Ready? Here we go. We're starting right there. 譬如真如遍在于业，善根回向，亦复如是，于一切业放大光明，是作佛事。Just as true suchness is present throughout the night, so too is the dedication of good roots, in that its great brilliance illuminates all nights as they do the Buddha's work. One more time. Just as true suchness pervades the nighttime, so too it is with his dedication of good roots, of roots of goodness, for they emanate great radiance into every nighttime as they carry out the works of the Buddha. They emanate great radiance into every nighttime as they carry out the works of the Buddha. Okay. We are out of 100, we're in a section that goes through time divisions next. So you can kind of see where that's heading, right? 我们现在已经到了这个10分，就说1分1秒钟、1分钟、1刻钟、1个小时、1周、1天、1夜这样子。Okay, just the way. If you look at night, true suchness hasn't gone away. Bodhisattvas transferring good roots, same way. The light of their generosity shines through the night as they do the Buddha's work. Okay. 就夜晚，菩萨会相供的没有停了，还是继续在那儿发生他的大布施，也放大光明，因为大光无私，那就是夜晚那是黑夜。譬如真如遍在宇宙，善根回向亦复如是，悉令一切在咒众生，见佛身边，言不退论。Sorry, one more time. Let's try that again, please. 譬如真如遍在宇宙善根回向亦复如是，悉令一切在咒众生，见佛身边，言不退论，理垢清净，无空过者。Just as true suchness is present throughout the day, so too is their dedication of good roots, in that it enables each and every living being throughout the day to never miss the opportunity to behold the Buddha's spiritual transformations, turn the irreversible wheel, and abandon defilement and attain purity. Wow, that's rich. Okay, let's count them out. So, true suchness is present in the night, it's present in the day, it doesn't stop. Bodhisattva's dedicating merit is the same in that, here's the verb, it enables. Okay, as the Bodhisattvas transfer merit, it enables. Okay, 这个真如在夜晚在白天不停继续，菩萨回向功德一样，怎么样一样吗？那个动词悉令一切，令就是动词，它这个菩萨回向功德会令什么样？在咒众生。Okay, good. Here we go. I'm jumping back and forth in my languages here. So I want to make that point. So Bodhisattvas, as they dedicate merit, enables living beings what? Throughout the day, to do what? To never miss the opportunity to see the Buddha's psychic powers, to turn the irreversible wheel, to abandon defilement, and to attain purity. Okay. What a gift. I'd like to dedicate my merit and virtue to all living beings during the day. May they never fail to see the Buddha's psychic powers. May they never fail to turn the irreversible wheel. May they never fail to abandon defilement. May they never fail to abandon purity. That's a great wish. What a dedication. How about that? 就说这种的回向的愿力，大家看看，觉得怎么样？你回向功德的时候，你发什么愿呢？比较起来，哇哦！就说譬如真如，就遍在宇宙。是的，真如没有停止，继续在菩萨回向功德也一样了，怎么样呢？他回向功德会令在白天的众生看到佛的身边，言不退论。Did I say turn? No, it was proclaim. Turn, no, that's a mistake here. Proclaim, not turn. Explain, 讲演佛的不退的法轮。 第二、第三，离垢清净离垢清净无空过者。Okay. This is a fairly sloppy translation right there. Heng Sure said, just as true suchness pervades the daytime, okay, so too it is with dedications of roots of goodness of the Bodhisattva, for they enable all beings of the daytime to witness the Buddha's spiritual transformations, his expounding of the irreversible wheel of Dharma, right, and his immaculate purity, all without having done so in vain. All without having done so in vain. So never miss the opportunity. That's a different emphasis, isn't it? So the Chinese, 无空过者, there it is. So the Chinese is no missed opportunity. It never passed emptily, literally. It never went by without this happening. So to say without having done so in vain, I don't think that's right for the way Heng Sure has it either. So this is more accurate. Never miss the opportunity to do these things. See the Buddha's psychic powers. Explain. Now, they also gave all these things to the Buddha. Heng Sure gave them all to the Buddha, where our translator here gave it to living beings. So that all living beings can always see, every time the Buddha shows psychic powers, they can see it. They can see the Buddha. Now, actually, grammatically, this has living beings turning the wheel, doesn't it? That's a mistaken translation. Yeah. So I think Heng Sure is right. So it's that they never miss the opportunity to see the Buddha do what? Display spiritual powers, turn the wheel, and let's see here, turn the wheel and leave defilement. But the Buddha doesn't leave defilement. The Buddha is already, So it's not clear in this whether it's let's analyze it. So, 那么到底那个就说 how do you say it? The 主动的是佛还是众生？如果是佛的话，我们就说，譬如正如片语白天，菩萨会上供的也一样了，怎么样？他会上供的都会令在白天的众生见到佛的身边，言不推论呢？他们众生言不推论不会，是佛言不推论。不过见佛身边，见佛言不推论，见佛离垢清净呢？佛已经清净了，不必离，无空过者，所以还是应该是众生吧。众生才离垢清净，众生才不言不推论，除非他们是一般的出家众，或者 okay, all right. So I'm not clear here. Who is the doer of the deeds? Who is the perceiver of the deeds? Because we've got, if it's the Buddha certainly proclaims the irreversible wheel, but the Buddha doesn't abandon defilement and attain purity. He's already done that. So, okay. Differences, right? That's why we're into this. But the act of engaging in it helps us understand what's going on. 虽然我们翻译的结果不同，有一些疑问在这，我们 用佛法来研究，用佛法的那个拿华严经的经文来，就说参与啊，那都有好处，那就会记得，然后有作用。All right? Okay. Anybody? Let's see. I know we've got some marvelous translators here online. Let's see here. Anybody? We got Huali is here, and we've got some expert translators online. Anybody? I saw Alex was here. Alec was here. Anybody who would care to give an opinion on the translation in the chat, please do. We want these sessions. What I would like to do is bring this to life and let people understand that the Buddha Dharma is the way Shifu presented it. It's much more. Translators of Buddhist texts should be willing to roll their sleeves up and get involved, give an opinion. What does it mean? Do we understand it? That's a question. And we only understand it by getting involved. Shifu did not want the sutra to be put in a wooden case with glass windows and covered neatly and dusted off periodically. He wanted us to open the glass doors of the sutra cabinet, take the cover off, open the text, get our fingerprints on it. It's for use. So there's a legitimate question here in the translations, and I don't know the one way to, so the only way to solve this is to discuss it. One person's understanding has a limit. And if we take the sutra as a sacred object, and its value comes by bowing to it or reciting it, but don't think about it, don't talk about it, don't discuss it, it's way beyond us, that's really not Shifu's spirit at all. 就说翻译这一句有一些少少的疑问，那么就说到底是佛现身变眼不退轮离垢清净吗？他如果说他已经离垢清净，那就可以，那就全确是佛做的那么无空过者。如果是众生令一切在周的众生做这些事呢，看到佛的身边眼不退轮，那我们就有众生在那儿眼不退轮。众生也就是不是出家众也有这个眼不退轮，不过我们都要明白，他们众生才离垢清净，他们还没到清净，佛已经到了，所以怎么样翻译呢？这是一个问题。好的，这个问题在呢，那是很好的。师父呢，把汉传佛教大乘经书带到西方，我们又带回来东方，并不是说佛经就不能动了，就放在一个那个书柜，把那个门呢关上，就可以上他礼拜或者什么，不是。师父劝我们打开那个玻璃门，把那个盖子折起来放在一边，把经书拿出来，打开，用那个手脚那个手指印放在那个纸上，打开了，不怕。有的人就把佛经当一种宝物不能碰哎呀，你要先洗手然后怎么样。师父不是这样子的，他说佛经要背到自己的肚子里边最好自己背熟了。那背熟当中要看了多少遍Okay, so anyway, 好的，明白。Okay, we got some suggestions here. Good. Okay. Let's see here. OK， 金庸是悉令一切在救众生见佛身边，言不退轮。Yes. OK， 譬如真如。Yes, correct. 理垢清净无空果者。对的。I think OK. Ling Feng thinks it's the Buddha who does the 身边言不退论, and after seeing that beings, so it's a sequential thing. Ling Feng says.OK，in Beijing, Mr. Duan says 是不是菩萨见佛身边演说不退法轮？见佛以理垢清净，无空过之1分钟，每1分钟也有可能。这个灵峰居士他认为是，就说，看佛身边，看佛言不退论之后，就才理垢清净，无空过之，也有可能性。这个段先生也是，就说无空过就每1分钟So Jin Yong Shi says, I think the first part is the Buddha, the second part, OK， 就说金永师说第一个是佛，第二个部分，下边那个第一个部分是见佛之后，第二个部分就这样子。Terry says, never understood irreversible Dharma wheel. I get being irreversible in position, but not what is meant by a Dharma wheel that's irreversible. OK， Terry 果参说他研究不退法轮，转不退法轮，到现在就还不清楚。他说位不退，念不退，可以的，可是法轮就不退，不清楚。So me too. And we in our on our, actually tomorrow morning, for me here in Australia, tomorrow afternoon for Californians, we do our Avatamsaka translation committee. We retranslate these, and as we the passages, and as we go through, as these items arise, we discuss them and chew them over and bring up opinions and do compare resources and things. And when the Dharma wheel came up recently, we had a big section on it, and the I think people in the end were not convinced of any single one interpretation of first of all, why a wheel, and two, why is it irreversible? For example, it is clear, here we go. Okay, I'm going to Wikipedia and Buddhism. So if we look up Buddhism, if we go to Wikipedia, you'll notice what is the symbol of Buddhism. 我们到了这个 wiki， 这个 symbol， 佛教的这个 symbol 是什么？是个轮。就1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8个州，一州8个 spokes， 一轮所以呢，就说整个佛教的代表是个轮。如果要问汉传佛教代表什么呢？应该是莲花，因为菩萨道它的华脱清净，它的根就在那个污浊的泥土里边。So clearly 很清楚，这个轮是很重要它呢 what do we know? So what do we know about wheels? They crush demons. You go, wow. Think of a wheel as a weapon. And how does it? It rolls over and it crushes demons. In particular, they say Dharma speakers turn the Dharma wheel If you think of Master Xuanzang, we're going to be talking about him in a few minutes here. It was his exposition of the so I'm jumping ahead here in our story. We won't get to this episode in Master Xuanzang's story for a while, but he wrote an essay after his time at Nalanda was up, and his essay was on refuting heresy, basically. And the things he said about summarizing, it's kind of like his thesis, his dissertation. The things he said about his summarizing his understanding of the Dharma was expressed with the theme of refuting wrong views. And he had now covered so much territory and encountered so many different speakers and teachers and religions, proper and improper, that he knew what he was talking about. When he published that thesis, they put it on the door of a large monastery compound, huge monastic, kind of like a camp, sort of. It was a temporary place for all kinds of, from the kings down to the homeless, to attend. And they said, anybody who can refute a single word of this thesis is welcome to try. And no one could. So it was considered that is turning the Dharma wheel and crushing the heads of the non-believers, you could say. So that's a strange image of this monstrous wheel, kind of like Godzilla, just stomping through Tokyo. The Dharma wheel turns. What else do we know about wheels? Well, there's the Eightfold Path, which is the source of that symbol of Buddhism. It's talked about as a wheel, and it's often described in the shape of a wheel. So traveling from humans to gods, humans to animals, humans to asuras, humans to ghosts or demons or the hells, it's somehow it's a circular. It turns. In the current teacher of Sudana that I'm explaining in the chapter 39 of Entering the Dharma Realm, Rufa Jepin, is Mi Jie Daren, is Lord Mega, and his Dharma is the wheel of 42 syllables, which is the Avatamsaka alphabet. And so that comes in this form of a wheel. And Master Chengguan, in one of his essays, included in the Avatamsaka translation, Huayan Su Chao, says it's a Dharma door. It turns. You can contemplate it, and it can turn, and the 42 letters of the alphabet send out light as it turns. As far as I can tell, they are not related to the 42 hands and eyes. So they're separate, just happens to be 42. So wheels appear, wheels turn. They have no reverse gear. They only go first, second, third, and fourth if it's a stick shift. They don't turn back. I also know Shifu at one point taught a meditation method that had wheels turning, and they turned clockwise. First, you can think from 1 to 3, second from 3 to 6, 3 from 6 to 9, 4 from 9 to 12. So wheels do appear in esoteric and exoteric and traditional, straight and both secret and revealed Dharma teachings. There are wheels regularly. So the Dharma wheel appears in many varieties. 就是说这个法轮有种种不同的，有密教的法轮，有显教的法轮啊。本来就说法轮会淬磨 邪魔外道都被法轮给轮摧啊，所以这个正法轮变成像一个不是个武器，不过呢能讲真实的道理啊，这个邪论啊、牛论啊、邪魔外道的说法都立不住，给破坏了。就讲玄奘大师，等一下我们有再进一步他的故事。玄奘大师他在那兰陀大学之后，离开走出来，那兰陀大学，他印度的国王请他写一篇论文，破邪论。他的道理啊，就怎么样正法的话呢，把他写的这篇文章放在这个门呢，就说无论谁是出家众啊，是外道师傅，能说破一个道理呢，你就法师会站头，你就打胜仗。全印度呢，没有一个能讲破，能说就说退，能对峙，连一句，连一个道理。所以玄奘大师的论文那个破邪论就说有这个力量会破讲破怎么说讲导所有的这些非正法的不是正法的道理。所以呢就说摧魔牛论这样子也是一个轮子一个轮子。为什么讲一个轮呢？还有刚刚让大家看到的这个百科全书要讲佛教有一个 symbol 有一个符号，是不是就是一个轮就是六道轮回的有8个就说也是一个八正道。所以在佛教里边多么重要呢？就是可以代表整个佛教。当然我们汉传佛教如果用一个想象的话就是莲花菩萨道，不过呢佛教整体就是一个轮还有这个空轮有一个水轮就在讲这个法界那个华藏世界海都有轮子那么那就是代表正法可以这样转，能转这个正法的出家众呢，就是转法轮就说佛日增光，法轮常转，这样子不退，它不会退还有呢现在我们讲那个第39品华严经入法界品，密戒大人了，他现在在那儿叫善财童子。密戒大人是介绍什么解脱门呢？就是华严密就是华严字母42个字轮，42就华严字轮，严字轮，这个是一个轮子，有42个字母阿拉帕刹那就这样子。然后我们知道这个玄奘大师说错了，就是清凉果师写那个华严素钞，他有另外一篇这个散文，就说那个华严字母那个轮子你能用它当它变成功夫，就是密教，你能观想它，它就转，每一个字放光明。那当然那不是显教，那是比较入门的 一种方法哈。所以大家 Terry 就说对了，那个他说还是看不懂这个 irreversible dharma 会有不退法，怎么不往后哈？就说为什么有一个轮字来代表？ So that question is still there. In our discussion, in our group, our committee, we had different opinions, and I don't think people were completely convinced of a single reason why it was an irreversible Dharma wheel. Okay, so let's see here. Zheng Liwan says the Buddha's turning a wheel. Okay, yeah. Living beings don't turn the Dharma wheel, correct. Okay, Huali says, okay, let's see here. Living beings not your retreating left defilement. Yes. Okay, Alan says it's living beings who are they are manifestations of the Buddha's transformations. Huali gives us Shifu's commentary. 上人怎么说呢？上人就说 here we go. I'm looking at my bigger monitor here. That's why I'm looking up. 譬如真如他遍在宇宙 OK 在白天的时候见到十方诸佛神通变化演说不退转的妙法轮令一切众生离开尘垢得到清净没有一个众生空过而得不到利益 Okay, so that's helpful. Thank you. Huali gave us Shifu's commentary. Shifu says it's the Buddha. He divides it into two, this section. It is the Buddha who turns Yan Shuo Bu Tui Zhuan. Okay, the Buddha speaks the irreversible wheel of Dharma, okay, or explains, let's say, explains the irreversible wheel of Dharma. And by doing so, he enables living beings to leave defilement and to attain purity, and no living being fails to get the benefit from that. Okay. 商人在那儿解释那就可以了就说师父把它分两遍就说是没有错佛现神变转不退转的而言讲解不退转的法轮然后呢这样做的话众生慢慢的得到清净就离垢没有一个得不到利益 Okay, we got that. Okay, good. Let's see here. 对了 Okay, great. Thank you for your help, everybody, and your questions. 大家愿意发自己宝贵的意见也很大的帮助 Okay, 好的 Good. So that helps. We've divided this into two. It's所以呢就分两边呢就说菩萨的就说譬如真如上根会上亦复如是就会令众生在白天看到佛的身边听到佛在那儿讲演然后呢他们就离垢清净无空过者 Alright? So here's the way it works. We can compare our two translations. So the vow of the Bodhisattvas is that during the day, all living beings will never miss the opportunity to see the Buddha's spiritual transformations, to hear him turn the irreversible wheel, and thereby abandon defilement and attain purity. Okay, so Heng Sure says, just as it pervades the daytime, so it is with dedications of roots of goodness of bodhisattvas. They enable beings of the daytime, or in the daytime, to see the Buddha's spiritual transformations, hear his expounding on the irreversible wheel of Dharma, and his immaculate purity, all without having done so in vain. So it's that Heng Sure interpreted that they hear about, they see the psychic abilities, they hear about his purity, and never miss a chance. So that's not the way Shifu did it, but pretty close. Okay, helpful. 有大帮助。好，来，譬如真如遍在半月，即以一月，上根回向，亦复如是，于诸世间四谛十劫， 得善方便于一念中知一切时. Okay, we're proceeding through time divisions. Just as true suchness is present throughout both a fortnight and a whole month, so too is their dedication of good roots, in that they attain the skillful means to comprehend in a single thought all times and seasons, and their sequence throughout all worlds. Okay, this is more time divisions, and here we've got fortnight, that's 2 weeks, and whole month, that's 4 weeks. The transference is hoping that bodhisattvas get skillful means to comprehend in one thought all those times and seasons and how they move through the year. 就说我们继续把时间分开，就说在半月或者1月，菩萨会相公的，就说像真如就常常在那。如果分2个礼拜、4个礼拜，菩萨会相公的能。上而为的复如是欲知世间此地，希望一切众生能在一念中知一切时，他的此地时节，因为他们得到这种方便，所以很清楚他们的 calendar， 他们的月历就不会错。So living beings are really good schedulers. They've got their calendar 功夫 working. 譬如真如遍在年岁，善根回向亦复如是，在无量劫明了成熟，一切诸根皆令圆满。Just as true thusness is present throughout the years, so too is dedication of good roots, in that it endures for countless eons, during which they comprehend all good roots, bringing them to maturity and perfection. And just as true suchness pervades all places, is pervasive throughout the years, so too it is with bodhisattva's dedication of roots of goodness, for abiding for countless eons, they fully understand and ripen all faculties, enabling them all to reach perfect fulfillment. Okay. To comprehend all good roots. Yeah, we're the idea of good roots is probably it's one of those early on shangan. It's so tempting to want to make that good roots, just the way Dizang is so tempting to make him earth store. In English, earth store is a place where you go to buy earth. It's instead of earth treasury, earth storehouse, earth stash, earth closet, earth trunk, right? Zang. The question is zang. But early on, we got in the habit of saying earth store, earth store, earth store. So he's earth store bodhisattva. And if you take a step back and look at it slightly at the angle, it's like, wait a minute. Is it a nursery? Do you go there to buy earth? Maybe rare earths or amendments? Yeah. So, likewise, good roots. I don't have any. I do. Right here in southeastern Queensland, we're in a rainforest type environment. It rains here a lot. It's raining as we speak. So, succulents. A lot like the East Bay is a really wonderful place to grow succulents because the Berkeley Hills trap all the water coming through the Golden Gate, and it rains down just over those hills into Contra Costa, and it's super dry all the way to the Sierras. So that's not so good for good roots. There you have to switch to seeds and such. But in the East Bay and here in Queensland, this is succulent capital. Oh my goodness, you just drop them down and they root and multiply. So that here we understand roots, but we are a seed culture in the West, not roots. Roots is for rice growing. So to say good roots, But if we said faculties, good faculties, what do we say? Wholesome qualities, because roots is not the invisible part below the ground of a tree. The other half of the tree you can't see. Roots instead is qualities. So Heng Sure says roots of goodness, not good roots. But we've kind of stuck with it here. Good roots. Do you have bad roots? Mm-mm. That's a half translation. It's halfway home. It's Chinglish. So, but we stuck with it. And there are Dharma doors is another one. Dharma doors. Way places is another one. That's all Chinglish. Gateways to the Dharma, or entrances into the Dharma, or methods of practice, Faman. And we could, what do you say for way place? Some they're handy and they stick in the ear, but are they accurate? And is it a real English word? So a way place. You say Bodhimanda, that's Sanskrit. Bodhimandala, that's inaccurate Sanskrit. Do you say place of practice, field of enlightenment? Cleary says field of enlightenment for Daochang. So it's a work in progress. We are engaged in this process of bringing the Dharma to the West. 很多字我们最早已经30、40年前、50年前开始翻译，好像善根、good roots， 那个是 Chinglish， 还没有完全翻译过来。恒寿法师 roots of goodness 可以了，或者说 good qualities， so 那就是我们继续努力啊。佛教从印度到中国来需要几百年啊，上人把正法带到西方就100年，所以我们还在努力，可能100年才能真的有西方佛教有这种的翻译的经书就可以定了 ，right? So Buddhism coming from India to China took 200 years. Buddhism coming from China to the West will probably, it's only been 100 since Master Hua, 1962, brought the right Dharma to the West. So we're still working on it before we get a set of translations that we say that's home. It's already ours. That's right. It echoes, kind of hits the core. So we have to do our part. We have to give our best and then let those who follow us continue. So, good roots. We're working with times here. Let's see, we got a year. That was the year. What have we got so far? We had day. Let's see here. Started out with daylight. Had nighttime. Started out with night, then we got the day, then we got fortnights and months. Now we've got a year. 对了，这是10分开时间。本来有夜晚，就说无所不在啊，就说变在于夜，另外呢变在宇宙，另外呢就说在半月及1月，然后呢还有变在年岁啊，这样子分时间。Okay, one more. Let's do another one. Here we. 譬如真如片成坏劫，善根回向亦复如是，住一即一切劫，清净无染，教化众生，显令清净。Okay. Just as true suchness is present throughout eons of formation and decay, so too is Bodhisattva's dedication of good roots, in that they are immaculate and endure throughout all eons, edifying living beings and bringing them to purity. Wow, the idea that your dedication could survive all that time. He says, just as true suchness pervades the kalpas of creation and destruction, so too it is with Bodhisattva's dedication of roots of goodness. They abide in all kalpas, pure and undefiled, teaching beings and enabling the purification of them all and bringing them to purity. Yeah. What a wonderful notion that your dedication of merit, that thought survives. 就大家想想看，你们觉得回向功德会住多久？会存在多久了？有没有考虑？像这个问题也是，你说光明，你放一道光，光是 particle 还是 wave， 它会存在多久了？或者声音，如果我们放一个声音，它会住多久？That is a serious bell. 还在 right? So, 它什么时候停？那我们回向一个念头，回向的一念心。会住多久了？华严经就说，it endures throughout eons. So how long, you heard that bell just goes like forever. How about a thought of transference? How long does it last? Good question. All right. We will stop with the eons. We'll give a pause right here. This is the last one we did. Okay, give it some highlight color. What should we give it? Blue? Blue. There we go. Okay. Now, we've got this. I didn't leave enough time for this section today because it's a whole, to tell this story completely, we have to do the whole thing, the whole page, and I don't think we've got enough time. So we'll do what we can. The amazing story last week was about this character named Gunaprabha De Guang, and Gunaprabha was a fundamentalist or something? What was his trip? He had a definition of how bodhisattvas in their last incarnation, on the way to becoming a Buddha, should appear. And with that in mind, he got a chance to go to the Tushita heaven to see Maitreya Bodhisattva, and with that sight of him, our monk Gunaprabha said, "Can't be real, I'm not going to bow to him. I'm more pure than he is. He's not pure." It's like, hello? This happened 3 times. He failed to bow to Maitreya Bodhisattva in the Tushita heaven, having been carried up there by the psychic powers of an arhat. Boy, that's some pretty stubborn opinions. I guess he's pure. He kept his views. Yeah, living beings can be stubborn. 就说这个故事，我想不到，玄奘大师就记载。We're in the situation of Master Xuanzang being a anthropologist and a Buddhist historian, and also a witness to history, right? He's just telling it as he was told. But he recorded it. That's the important thing. He kept a journal. And so we know what he meant. And good grief, this story is mind-blowing. So Gunaprabha, this monk who had been a Mahayana devotee and then retreated back to Theravada. So we already have a kind of a sense of his character. But he wanted to see Maitreya Bodhisattva because he had read the Yogacara Bhumi Shastra and had some doubts. So he asked an arhat, Devasena, to please take him to the Tushita heaven with his psychic powers. That's a request you could make, yeah. And he did. And when he saw Maitreya Bodhisattva, he thought, this is not what bodhisattvas look like. I know what bodhisattvas look like, and you're no bodhisattva. I know President Kennedy. So he went 3 times, and in each case, he failed to bow because the actual Maitreya Bodhisattva, whom he encountered in the Tushita heaven, didn't fit his preconception of what a bodhisattva should look like. That is stubborn. Pure, right? I alone am pure. So, there we go. So now, that's the story we just heard. And 德光伽蓝南山寺里有伽蓝僧200余人，并小乘学，是众贤论师受中处。3 or 4 li south of Gunaprabha's monastery was another monastery. There were 200 monks of the Theravada Hinayana school living there. Lun Shi, this was the place where Shastra master Sangabhadra had died. So now we are in the India of the Buddha's life, and then the centuries that followed. So these are, Master Xuanzang is in India, which is, we think of the Buddha, but it's also the place of all of the Buddha's disciples and what happened to them later. So we're finding stupas and schools and monasteries and writings of all of these noble Sangha members. 我们就想到那个佛陀的印度，佛入涅槃之后，他的几百年就生存的佛弟子也在那儿，有塔有寺庙有宝塔，有寺庙，有论文，有那个宗派等等还有他们的舍利。OK， 论是本家释弥罗国人，博学高才，名一切有部毗婆沙。He was a native of Kashmira and was a profound scholar, well learned in the Sarvastivadin Vipasha. So that's some of the writings that are still available, and one of the important schools of the Vinaya. So this is Sangabhadra. 世亲菩萨以睿智多闻，先作阿毗达摩居士论，破毗婆沙师所执，里奥文华，西域学徒莫不赞扬。缘智鬼身以皆讲习。Okay, at that time, Vasubandhu Bodhisattva, who was also a well-learned scholar of great wisdom, had composed the Abhidharmakosha Shastra in refutation of the theories of the Vibhasha masters. It was a work of profound teachings, written in a florid style. It was studied by all the students of the Western regions, and even by the spirits and deities. The Chinese says ghosts. The translator didn't say ghosts. So, okay, now, here you go. Here's the kind of stuff, right? So, Vasubandhu, famous, Shichin Pusa, one of the major names of Shastra masters who, after the Buddha, formed the Dharma in India. His Abhidharmakosha Shastra is one of the most influential works post-Buddha. So these are, we talk about the Sutra Pitaka, the Shastra Pitaka, and the Vinaya Pitaka. These are the Shastra masters. And boy, oh boy, Shifu, did not encourage us to lecture from Shastras. However, we know that by day, before the lectures, Shifu consulted the Huayan Suchao, Master Chengguan's massive commentary and sub-commentary. Shifu also praised the Dazhi Dulun, the commentary to the Mahaprajnaparamita Shastra. And he did explain the Baifa Mingmen Lun, right, the 100 Dharma Shastra, and the Dacheng Qixin Lun, the awakening of faith in the Mahayana. So Shifu did, in fact, give us Shastras. However, there is a Shastra tradition, and you know who really digs into the Shastra tradition is I know his name is not popular in China, Dalai Lama. His teachings, he focuses on the Nalanda tradition. He considers himself a monk in the Nalanda tradition, and he carries it forward. So those are, if you're in the Tibetan tradition, you are fully cognizant of all these Shastras. Shifu wanted the sutras to be explained. The attitude in Asia often is that the sutras are beyond us. We don't have the necessary wisdom. You have to go to the Shastra masters. That's not the case in Shifu's way of teaching the Dharma. He said, let the Buddha's voice be heard. The Buddha can speak English to us. Later we pick up the Shastras. And I really hope maybe Dharma Realm Buddhist University will lead the investigations into the Shastras because they are so rich. Here's Vasubandhu Bodhisattva, who wrote the Abhidharma Kosha, and it mentions that it was written in a florid style, Wenhua Li Ao Wenhua. But how do you know that the students of the Western regions and ghosts and spirits all Jiang Xi explained it and studied it? That's what Master Xuanzang encountered as he traveled through India. How wonderful, how wonderful. 就说上人他在介绍把正法带到西方，他愿意佛陀的声音在让我们明白他自己白天阅读华严素抄，晚上他直接讲经典。他说你的智慧够了，你可以不必依靠论文。可是呢，将来希望法界大学或者哪里就会开课，让我们研究深入经藏，深入论上，有智慧如海。佛的论啊，太好，太重要啊！那是将来的工作啊。Okay, here we go. Dedication of merit. See you all next week. Thanks for the help today. I want to continue our discussion of these sutras as we go, and I will continue to investigate Kalavinka's contributions here. Okay, here we go. Like a bodhisattva, let's dedicate merit. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become share and work. And before we're done, we will bow to Brahman Pusa, bow to the Buddhas. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. That's going to do it for us for today. Thanks for joining, everybody. See you all next week. Am.noon. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, 石老师。
Am.noon.